This is Twit.
I'm in big trouble, you guys.
Uh-oh.
You know,
Is the honeymoon over?
HTC One. Yeah, I love my HTC One. I really do. But today, its successor, the Mate. I like that. I hadn't heard anybody pronounce it Mate, but now I'm going to call it the Mate. Is the HTC One M8, the HTC One 2, the second HTC One, however you want to call it. It's the new one. It's just the new HTC One. It got announced today. It's available now, and man, it looks nice.
Yeah.
It looks really, really nice. Gosh, where to start? So the Verge did a great review as usual, and a very positive review. A lot of the leaks that we saw turned out actually to be true. The one looks a lot like the original one, a little softer, a little more rounded. Gorgeous specs. Those two dual cameras on the back, which, as we talked about, basically capture depth information and let you refocus your photos kind of after the fact. The Verge says that HTC kind of whooped the HTC One's battery problem, which I'm actually going to talk about a little bit later because this phone actually really does have a battery problem. And this phone just looks gorgeous. It's got this kind of brushed metal, a little bit more of a softer look. It's still got those front speakers that sound really good. I could rattle off specs, but that's no fun. It's available now, $199 through Verizon, AT&T, and Sprint, $700 for the Google Play edition. And I'm dying over here because, I just don't do contracts, but I don't have between $600 and $700 to drop on a new phone right now, especially since my phone is already pretty new. Oh, and the last thing I should mention about it, and I want to throw it to you guys to see what you think about this, the Dot View case. This is kind of a really neat case on the phone. I think there must be a picture in here somewhere, Chad.
Yeah, the Android Police article has a video that kind of shows it off, actually.
Yeah, this is kind of a neat case. So yeah, you can see it there. It's a cover that covers the screen that's got dots, and when you touch it, it can actually show the time and the weather, again, with the weather.
Aww.
When you double tap it, it shows the time and the weather right through the case.
It's like a light bright.
Neat design. Yeah, it is like a light bright. It's got that cool retro, but like modern, look to it. I don't use cases. I don't put cases on my phone generally, but that's really neat. I also love the double tap to wake up the phone feature.
Yep.
I'm often fumbling for the power button, especially when the phone is kind of stuck in my pocket. I'm not sure which end is up. They moved the headphone jack to the bottom, and moved around a couple other things. There's a camera setting for selfies. There's got this dual camera shot where we'll take a shot with the front and the back. There's some Zoe improvements. A bunch of the HTC Sense apps have gone to the Play Store, which makes updating easier. I don't know. What do you guys think about this phone? Would you consider giving up your Nexus 5 for the M8, Jason, or are you good?
Well, I mean, I think I'm good, though I really like the look of this phone. It would just be really hard for me personally to move away from the Nexus device at this point.
Even with the Play Edition.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, it falls into that category of like the Play Edition is a great option, and I mean, you have sung the praises of the Play Edition for the HTC One. But some of the really interesting things about this device with the dual cameras kind of probably hinges around the software that HTC has built into there. The Play Edition, I'm wondering if it's even going to be able to tap into some of that stuff. The dual camera stuff, by the way, I saw Alex Lindsay, who's frequently on Mac Break Weekly here on the Twit Network as, Pixel Core. He was doing a hangout with Verizon to kind of show off some of the photo. He was there to kind of show off his what he thought of the device and his kind of interaction with the photo features. And they showed off live the dynamic zooming between the fore and the background, and kind of explained the technology behind it. And I gotta say, that was pretty cool. I don't know if it's like the reason to get the device, but it's really nice to have it on there. It looks pretty neat. The process was pretty sweet.
Is that licensed from Lytro? Is that Lytro?
I don't know if it's licensed. I mean, it's similar to Lytro. It absolutely is very similar in use.
I've seen my taste change over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I love Samsung, I used to love Samsung. I had an S2, an S3, and now an S4. But the Achilles heel for me has always been the absolutely horrible camera. And I didn't used to care about that, but recently I've been using it a lot more, and it bothers me every time I get a horrible, fuzzy low light, washed out picture. If they really have solved the mate's battery problem, then and if it could give me a good camera, that might be the phone I switch to. I've been thinking about Motorola, but that looks sexy.
It's a thing of beauty. It's a really beautiful phone. I have to say. That was the reason why I bought the HTC One to begin with. I mean, yeah, you could just get the black slab, and that's cool. Like the black slab is cool. The Nexus 5 is also a gorgeous phone, but I really liked that the one had style, and the M8 seems to continue to have that style. The lines are a little softer, but they've got that brushed kind of metal that's rounds around the back that looks really nice. Yeah, I dig it. I still think it's really a looker. And The Verge says that the battery problems have been worked out. So that's a big one for me. I often get photos where, my kid or the dog is blurry and the background is sharp in focus, and it makes me nuts. It drives me crazy, because it's like, oh, if I had just tapped that person to focus in, but you don't have time to tap when you're taking a picture. So I like the idea that I could, adjust that after the fact. And if the shutter is fast enough, then fine, I'll accept that I needed 2 sensors and special software to deal with that. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
I will say that the style, it's beautiful, but the style will be lost on me because I put all my phones in a case.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That's a hard one too,
nice.
right?
That is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard for me to put a phone in a case, even though I know I probably should.
So HTC, if you wanted to send like 6 of those things to the Brick House, we could probably do a pretty good review. Just,
One of them.
Just saying.